Welcome. Today I'm going to be continuing my homeschool curriculum recommendation series. I have done everything from elementary, early elementary to high school, and today I'm going to be sharing high school electives. Welcome to my channel, Learning with Boys. My name is Rachel. I am a homeschool mom of 4 boys. I have graduated too, and this school year I have a middle schooler and a high schooler. And I thought I would share curriculum recommendations, and which I have. I will link those videos that I have done below, and this will be my last video, which is high school electives. Now, these are the required electives. I know not all states have requirements, ours does, but if you're even considering college, these are most likely would fall under requirements for a college. I am going to be talking about fine arts, government and economics, finance, health, PE. I think that, foreign language. So let's go ahead and get started. We are a homeschool family of 16 years. We are eclectic in our homeschool style. I do tend to go towards the Charlotte Mason style, and we do have a Christian worldview. So let's go ahead and get started, and hopefully one of these that I mentioned will be helpful in all the curriculum that I share today. Okay, for government, I'm going to go ahead and mention what my son used last school year, and that is a noble experiment for government. Now, this was our first time using this one, and it is a little bit more challenging, but I do want to mention it, recommend it if you are looking for something that would have source documents, that would have tests and projects and things like that. They do have the student notebook, the teacher's resources on another DVD that you can print out, and then it is a DVD program, and that is sort of what I liked about it. Now, my son really just watched the DVDs and answered some of the questions as he was watching. I think he did do some tests or quiz, but they were like open book. So I do want to share that with you. It is definitely more challenging. As he was doing it, he was also reading Whatever Happened to Justice. Now, this is another recommendation, and this is from Uncle Eric books. Now, there are several books that have to do with government from Uncle Eric. This one, my son really enjoyed last school year. One of my older boys did use this book. He also used a guide with it. They're called the Blue Stocking Guides, and these will have questions and essays and projects in here also. But for my son last year, he just read it with that other program I just mentioned to you, A Noble Experiment. But I do want to mention that this could be a standalone. They have a couple other books that would fall under the government selection, and they also have books for economics. This book, my son that did this last school year is not a reader. He really enjoyed this book. He read most of it on his own. He would actually bring it to me and say, "Hey, Mom, you really need to read this chapter. Hey, Mom, you really need to read this chapter." So I think he really learned a lot from it, and he really enjoyed it. And if you wanted to do it as a standalone, you could, like I said, use the Blue Stocking Guides. I would probably do like one book one semester and then one of the other books another semester. And these are books, again, from Uncle Eric, and I will link them below. All right, the other one I want to mention for government would be Knotgrass. Now, I'm gonna link a picture right here. My oldest actually used Knotgrass for government. They also will use some source documents. They have tests and quizzes. When my son did it, he really just read it and answered the questions. But I do want to highly recommend it. I do appreciate all these curriculums that I'm mentioning, that they do have a Christian worldview. And when my son used it several years ago, it was definitely a much older edition. We actually bought it used, so it wasn't even updated at that time. So, all right, that is for government. Okay, for economics, I also want to mention the Uncle Eric books. Now, they have one, Whatever Happened to Penny Candy, and I'll link a picture of that right here. And they also have a Blue Stocking Guide for that about economics. I think we have Whatever Happened to Penny Candy, but I don't have it out. I think it's packed away. So I'm just sharing a picture of that with you. My son this school year is also reading The Money Mystery as part of his economics, and they have a Blue Stocking Guide for that. So you could just use those 2 books, and that would be your economic course. Now, my son is using, I do highly recommend it. I would use these videos, Economics for Everybody from Compass Classroom, and then use the Blue Stocking Guide along with it, because these are videos. They have the book, which is pretty much what the video is all about, and some questions about what you've listened to. And then they have some book recommendations. But I like the mix of this with the Uncle Eric books. So that would be my recommendation for economics. If you are looking for something more textbooky, again, I would say Knotgrass would be my choice for that. I've read really great reviews for that. We have personally not used the economics book, just the government. All right, those are my recommendations for economics. Okay, for finance. Finance, sometimes you can correlate that with economics. I think that is what is going on with my son. He is using a curriculum that is more of a Charlotte Mason style this school year. He is also using Money Matters for Teens. Now, they have a workbook, and you could purchase this book and the workbook and for your finance. I'll just read a couple of the chapters in here if you're curious. It's stewardship, money, attitude, planning, career, spending, and banking. So this could be something that you use along with the workbook for finance. And he has really been enjoying this book. That would be one of my recommendations. I also, all my boys have used the Dave Ramsey homeschool DVDs with the workbook. They haven't really done all the projects in here, just the DVDs and the workbook. Now, my son, my high schooler right now, has supposed to already started these for the school year. I even mentioned it in one of my videos at the beginning of the year that maybe we would do it in the evening. Now, he has not even had a chance to start this yet. We did do a little schedule changing for him, and that is going really good. But I think I'm having a little reservation about it because when my two older boys did this curriculum, we were there, we watched the videos, we heard Dave Ramsey talking. So I feel like he's heard it several times, plus our family just talks about it in general. He does have a job, he is saving up for a vehicle, he does have a bank account. So I think finance sometimes can just be part of life. As you go along, you need to be teaching them in those different areas. I do feel like it's helpful sometimes for them to hear it from somebody else. So that is one reason I appreciated this program, the Dave Ramsey one. And just him, my son now, reading this book, he's really been enjoying that. And I do want to mention one other curriculum, and that would be, which we have not used, but I keep looking at it, and not even this year, I've looked at it in the past, and that is from Seven Sisters. They have a financial literacy curriculum that looks really, really good. I will link them below if you're interested. They have all kinds of curriculum for high school. So those are my finance recommendations. I'm going to talk about foreign language. Now I'm going to give you, we've used several different things, but I'm going to give you my recommendations for what I think, if we had to do it over, would choose. My oldest did use Life Pack Spanish. And I think if he would have started, he actually started with a different curriculum and then he jumped into that. I think if he would have just started with that and stayed with that, it would have been perfect. And he did end with it and it was fine. So he was into Spanish too by the time he was done. But I just think that would be a good choice for somebody that just wants a self-paced curriculum for Spanish. Now, my biggest thing about foreign language for a homeschool family is that if you're not using it and communicating with someone else that speaks that language, it's going to be really challenging. I know that you could take it in a co-op. You could even do it as a dual credit. But I do want to mention something that my second son took, and that is Visual Latin from Compass Classroom. And I really almost wish that I would have pushed my high schooler now to take that last year. He tried some French. He made it through, but I really just feel like it would have been more beneficial in the end with Latin. It will help you with your vocabulary and reading comprehension and just in a lot of different areas in your studies. So that would be my recommendation. My son that took level 1, because we have 2 different paths in our state for graduation, and one is college bound and one is general studies. So he was just taking the general studies and it only required 1 year of foreign language. And with foreign language, some states may not even require it, but if you're interested, I would check out the Visual Latin. I think you will learn a lot from that. if they are considering college, you would definitely want to check out what their requirements are, because you don't want to be stuck and think, well, I just took this foreign language and they're not going to accept that. So you might want to find out ahead of time if you know that your student wants to attend a certain college or apply somewhere. So those are some thoughts on foreign language. Now, there are other sites, like I know I've heard good reviews about Easy Peasy's Spanish. Now, Easy Peasy's a free program, so let me throw that out there for anybody that wants to look into it. They do have things for fine arts. They have, I think they have a financial course. They have Spanish, but it is something I looked into quite a few years ago, and it was just not a fit for the way my boys learn. So that is one reason we didn't go that direction, but I keep seeing reviews for their Spanish and good reviews. So that might be something you might want to check out if you have a child that definitely wants to take Spanish. Sometimes if you can find something like a trial to see which direction would be best for them before you fork out a lot of money, that would be the way to go, especially in those foreign languages. So, okay, for health and PE. For health, we have used 2 books, and it was the Life Pack for health and also Total Health. And they were so similar, believe it or not. And I think either one would work. I'm not really even sure on the cost difference of those. For our family, there is like one thing with the health programs, and that is we have some autoimmune disorders and just some different health issues that we eat a little different than the normal food pyramid, so that we always bump into that problem. But other than that, especially my oldest, when he did the Life Pack, it really encouraged him. They talked about vitamins and just taking care of yourself, and he learned so much. But as a mama of boys, you can only enforce the health to a certain point. And there are things that as a family that will be in the health book that we've already discussed and talk about. But if you need a guide, I would definitely pick a curriculum and help you to open up those discussions that really need to be talked about. Not just health, but mental health, spiritual health, those kind of things. So those are the 2 programs we have used, and I would recommend either one of them. I do know Apologia, I don't know, is it new? They have a health program out. Maybe they've updated it, and that looks really good. And I've talked about in a recent video that I am going to be able to go to a homeschool convention, and I may take a look at it because I am very curious about what they have to offer. So that is my thought on health. Now for PE. PE is pretty flexible. Most people don't have a problem of getting that credit. We do need a credit, half a credit in health and a credit in PE. But just physical activity that you keep track of, that you keep record of. A lot of kids play sports. My boys never played on a league or anything, but they did a lot of football and a lot of basketball with friends. But they were also really big into mountain biking and hiking. So we are always pretty active, and it was no problem to count hours for that. Some people might want to go even deeper and study a specific sport and all the rules. My boys sort of did that more when they read a lot and in middle school. They would actually get books from the library that talk about the different sports and rules. So just some ideas out there, instead of using a particular curriculum or feeling that pressure that you just need to count the hours for PE. Okay, for fine arts, it's a very broad requirement. Usually it's music and art or some type of drama or speech. All my boys have done something different for fine arts. My oldest was more hands-on. My second, he's hands-on, but he got into photography, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And my son now is more, he plays the piano, and music is his thing. He sings in the choir. He really enjoys that part of fine arts. He's not hands-on. He doesn't care to draw or paint or anything like that, but he does enjoy music. So for him, it's been pretty easy because he does take lessons, been taking them since he was younger, but they have intensified over the years. And so I have just been counting each year as a half a credit. I probably could have done a credit for the hours he puts in between piano and choir and all that, but that's just sort of how I did it. They only do need a credit for their high school years in our state, but you could do a music study about the different type of music over the years. I cannot think of a particular curriculum, but I do want to mention a site that you may find a lot of options for fine art, and that's Schoolhouse Teachers. They have all kinds of programs that you could use with art and music and photography. They have other electives that would not be required, but like computer, and they have subjects like math and language arts and things like that. Now, we have used them in past years for high school, but not for one of our core subjects. I think it was something more for the computer. But the thing about Schoolhouse Teachers, that if you purchase, whether it be monthly or you purchase for a year, all those classes are open to you. You're not just purchasing one class, so they could take several at a time. I would keep in mind with any curriculum, they've hired several different teachers. I always look at the background of everybody, sort of get an idea of their view on things before I would choose a curriculum. So I just want to give you that just to have a little bit of discernment, and your son or daughter would be at the computer doing the curriculum. So that's just an option for all around fine arts. I did mention music. I do want to mention art. Barry Stebbings has an art history program that I would recommend. It is for high school. I have not used it personally, but we have used some of his other curriculum in the younger years. Everything he says and does honors the Lord. We've really enjoyed what we have used in the past. Also, there is another curriculum out there, and I have not used this one either, but I've looked into it a little bit. It really looked amazing. Now, I was thinking about my youngest. I was thinking, ooh, he would really like this one. He's not quite in high school yet, but it's art projects, and it is by Shining Light Ministries, I think. I will link them below, but they pull in biblical applications into their art, and it's videos, so she is teaching you different things through videos. I don't even know if you can buy the DVDs or if it's just streaming right now, but I will link something below for them. And I do think you can buy just an individual, like if you just wanted to try it, I think you can buy just one session. So that is something to look into if you have one that really enjoys art. All right, for photography, I had one son that loved photography. He did really most of his high school years. He started like in 6th grade all the way through high school. And he joined Linspirations, and I will link them below. The gentleman who's in charge of Linspirations, right now they have curriculum. I don't know if they specifically had curriculum. They had like classes, but I do think they have something geared towards high school now, which is great. It is also a community. Like my son would be able to type in and ask, well, I'm looking at this camera, what do you think? Da, 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 da. And he would get several answers back. And that just encouraged him in his teen years that he had these people that took this seriously and professionally and were answering him back. So he is a Christian gentleman. My son actually took like a 2-day class. We went to a homeschool convention several years ago when he was in high school and was able to take classes those 2 days with him, and some other teens were there also. I will link them below. I would really check them out. I think it would be worth it to invest. I do know he has some free online things also, so definitely check him out for photography. Now, for photography, let me mention this before I forget, that if your son or daughter wants to use that or go in that direction of some form of media in college, I would consider not putting that under the fine arts, but putting that under electives. That way it is the word photography is seen on their transcript or whatever media class they're taking, and maybe try to do something else for fine arts. Just a thought. Someone had said that to me, so I thought that was a good point and very interesting, so I wanted to share that with you. Okay, for speech, there are a lot of curriculums out there. I want to say IEW has something out there for speech too. I have not looked at it, but I would definitely check that out. Speech is hard too, because as a homeschooler, either you're going to have to find a group or a co-op or something like that. But this program has been very good for my son this school year. It is Secrets of Great Communication. It has been a great program. My son has really enjoyed watching the DVDs and the gentleman who teaches that. It's really been a great class. Now, my son does have opportunities to speak. He actually, in our church, he sometimes encouraged the teens maybe to give the Sunday school lesson. He also works in another ministry with kids where he's able to speak sometimes. But I feel like this will be so beneficial and so helpful to him. I've even learned by watching some of the DVDs with him. So, all right, so those are my elective recommendations for required electives. I would love to know what you are using or suggestions that you have or curriculum that you've just found that has really worked for your family with electives, and share below. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If there's something I didn't mention and you had a question about. And if you're new to this channel, I would love for you to subscribe and join us. And if this video was helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up. All right, I do appreciate you all watching, and we will talk to you again soon.